Welcome to the Real Authority. Eenie Meanie sucks. I'm not going to waste your time too long, so why don't we just get into it? Samara Weaving plays Edie, a retired getaway driver who decides to come out inadvertently because her boyfriend is in some deep crap. Or at least that's the premise that I read beforehand. I'm not going to waste too much time going into the basics. Why don't we just get into the positives? Samara Weaving does her best, although the script doesn't make her exactly a compelling character, but I can admit she gave a good performance in spite of absolutely weak material. There were some chase sequences, since she's a getaway driver, that were fun, one toward the beginning and one toward the end. When that happens, it's mildly fun. I felt like those were outliers in an otherwise dire film, I guess. And speaking of the ending chase sequence, the last 20 to 30 minutes, they were mild fun, and I use mild heavily. I guess why don't we get into the negative? The 1 hour and 46 runtime is a drag. I don't get why it was so boring and dull, but I guess it's because the central relationship. Because Samara Weaving is basically in this situation because she wanted to visit her ex-boyfriend. Played by Carl Glusman, I don't blame him for his character being so unlikable and so hard to root for whatsoever, especially with their relationship. He just exists. You can easily put him in the background and I wouldn't even give a damn. I'm sure the guy has talent, but none of his talent is utilized here effectively. He is so annoying and so insufferable, thus making the central relationship so hard to follow and believe. And considering the fact that this is one of the main things that the film tries to do, is try to make you believe into this relationship, the fact that it fails just makes it a hard watch. Again, the pacing's dull, and mark my words, War of the Worlds, despite being worse, is at least more engaging and less boring than Eenie Meanie. I am absolutely sad to say that, because War of the Worlds is still the worst movie of the year so far, but at least its bad elements are at least interesting. I couldn't even tell you a lot of the stuff that happens in this movie, like little details, and I only saw it like half an hour ago. It's slowly leaving my mind, so that's why I wanted to make this review quick. And the narrative keeps dragging on, trying to set up like a finale that would be high stakes, considering that it's revolving around a damn getaway driver. And again, mild fun toward the end can't save the fact that you gotta sit through the rest of the movie, which is just not worth it. Plus, even though the ending's mildly interesting, like the actual end was kind of just unsatisfying, especially considering the fact that they try to throw everything at the wall and nothing sticks. It was dumb as hell. Also, despite trying to be a bit of an action crime comedy, movie's not funny. I had one laugh, and that was an ironic laugh. Plus, a lot of dumb character decisions, too. Like, this is not a horror movie. I usually levy that complaint toward horror movies, and this is not even a horror movie, and I gotta levy that complaint. That's unheard of me. But yeah, and since the romance is not really that interesting, you really do not feel any of the stakes or tension, even though the movie tries to make it high stakes. I just didn't care. Even though in my War of the Worlds review I said I would be avoiding streaming garbage, well, I guess I went back on my word, and I do apologize for that. But either way, I could make a semi-entertaining video about it, but more importantly, warn you to avoid Eenie Meanie. It's just not really worth it. Even the mild fun toward the end and throughout is just not enough to save it from being just a slog. Easily one of the worst movies of the year, and that's something I was never expecting from this. Then again, it only came to my attention like a month ago, and I only saw like a 30-second preview on YouTube, so yeah, Real Authority easily rejects 3 out of 10. Alright, I'm gonna relax now. That was very boring. Make sure you leave a like, subscribe to the channel, turn on post notifications, and comment your thoughts if you happen to see the movie or your thoughts on the video in general. I don't know. I'm gonna rest now. Peace.